Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Season 2 of the Bleach Anime's Returns. For today's part, we have Synsei Inc., the commander and pirate king of the Grand Fleet.
Hey man, what's going on? Thanks for having me, Poxal. It's always a pleasure.
No problem. So, I know that you helped me out the first part, and we kind of, you already understand the idea, but basically this series is just about the Thousand Year Blood War arc in general and just an overall almost review of your favorite moments of Thousand Year Blood War that you can't wait to get animated. So to begin it off, so out of the entirety of Thousand Year Blood War, what are your top 3 or 4 moments of the arc?
Yeah, for sure. So besides the Kenpachi and Unohana fight, I'd have to go with Yamamoto versus Yuha, and then I'd have to go with Zaraki versus Grimmy. The introduction of Ichigo, Ruki, and Renji when they come back from the Soul King Palace and they make their introduction onto the battlefield. And then I'd probably have to go with Ichibei versus Yuhabak as well.
Okay. Do you think that there's going to be a lot of different changes between the arcs, or no?
I think since Kubo said he wants to work directly with the adaptators to pretty much make the final arc into what he wanted it to be originally, I think that fact kind of has me excited. I think there'll be changes, but there'll be good changes. I think that this is going to be Kubo's chance to really solidify Thousand Year Blood War arc, make the haters and naysayers that think that the second part is trash compared to the first part kind of bite their tongue. And I think he's going to make it a compact, very good condensed arc that people can pretty much end up saying is a classic arc for Bleach.
Okay, yeah, definitely agree with you there. So Thousand Year Blood War is 200 chapters, it's a pretty long arc altogether. As an adaptation, with including whatever Kubo's adding to the second half, that we have no idea what he's adding, but we know that he's going to at least expand the fights a little more. How many episodes are you thinking it's gonna range from?
Well, if they adapt 2 chapters an episode or something around there, usually I see people adapt 2 to 2.5 episodes. I know One Piece does episode to episode, but they only do that because they mix canon filler, so they fluff the episodes. I don't think Kubo's gonna do that necessarily. So maybe 2.5 chapters. So I mean, we could be looking at a pretty big anime season here. We could be having to have 2 parts to this. This is 200 chapters, so I mean, it could be anywhere from 50 to 100 episodes, really, depending on how he decides to flesh things out.
Yeah, 100% agree there. Do you think it's gonna be as popularity wise? I know we're starting in the Thousand Year Blood War zone, so new anime fans might not be able to hop on it as easily as with say Jujutsu Kaisen or Demon Slayer, but do you think it's gonna be as big as those if it gets the proper animation treatment?
I think that it will be. I'll say this, for one, all of the old Bleach fans are going to be coming out of the woodworks for this, because this is something that we've been wanting for a long time. I watched Bleach like a lot of us when I was a child, and I found out, funnily enough, that there was a final arc actually really recently. I didn't know, because I was anime only for a long time. I never had read a manga, that there was a final arc until probably 3 or 4 years ago. And then I went back and I read it, and I was like, man, this is really some gas. And I was super excited because I thought, okay, well, if it's in the manga, it'll be in the anime. But then when I went to go check, there wasn't any anime adaptation for it. And then I learned that there wasn't going to be one. And so when I got the announcement, like everyone else, that there was actually going to be one, I got super excited, just like all the rest of the fans. I remember the day it got announced, just how crazy social media was, and how excited a lot of Bleach fans were that there was going to be a final adaptation for this arc. So I think with the hype of the old fans, especially if they adapt it to new age animation, make it more flashy and new in presentation, that you could get a ton of new fans involved too that might go back and actually read or watch Bleach. So with the combination of the old fans and the new fans, I think that if done right, Kubo could make this a really big monumental moment for Bleach and even increase manga sales.
Yeah, I mean, we've looked at these last few years, the manga sales haven't been updated, but we can already know that, like, it's sold pretty well since the announcement. I mean, constantly on Amazon, if you check, there's very few Bleach volumes that are left in stock. They're always down to, like, the last 10 for the box sets.
Yeah, for sure. That's a telltale sign that people are buying.
Yeah, 100%. If you, like, out of all the characters, I know you're a fan of Kenpachi, but which character do you think was the GOAT of Thousand Year Blood War?
Oh, the GOATs? That would probably have to be Captain Kirosuchi for me.
Okay.
I think that, like he did a lot in that arc, like a ton. And he actually surprised me a lot, because I didn't even, before the Thousand Year Blood War arc, I didn't really like Captain Mayuri too much. Like, I liked him, but like not as much as I did other captains. But this arc, man, like he really came clutch so many times, and like I just was kind of like, man, it's kind of taken back by it a little bit.
It truly shows like the power that science can have, and why I think at least the fights that he had, because I'm pretty sure he had some of them about the most fights, like him and Kenpachi probably. It really shows the power of science and why I think Kisuke is such a threat. Like, if it wasn't for Mayuri, I don't think Kisuke would seem as big as a threat and not deserving of one of the world powers. But
exactly,
as we know, Mayuri, Aizen, and Kisuke are the three smartest people in the Soul Society.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah,
I don't even think it's close, in my opinion. Those guys are like just incredibly intelligent, always being innovative, ahead of the game in almost every regard. And like, I think especially during the Fate Karakura Town arc, man, when you see just Kisuke and Aizen going back and forth, like that's really like, it was like a battle of intelligence. It was like a chess game in a lot of ways. Yeah, and you can just tell like how like intelligent they are just from that moment.
So between those three, after Thousand Year Blood War, I know previously Aizen stated that Kisuke was smarter than him, but do you think by the end of Thousand Year Blood War, the order has changed? Because prior to it, it was Kisuke, Aizen, and then Mayuri. Do you think Mayuri's higher on the list now, lower, or do you think the list changes?
Man, so okay, I have a follow-up question to your question first that'll make me may change my opinion. Does the Hogyoku evolve the person just physically, or does it evolve Aizen as a person? Like, is it evolving his mind as well?
I mean, because
I'm not sure, because if that's the case, like he's been like, I feel like at this point he might be. I don't really know if the Hogyoku does that.
So if Aizen seeks after intelligence, then yes. If he seeked after more intelligence, the Hogyoku would evolve his mind.
Okay, so I'll say this then. If for some chance he did, I think he's number one now, but I'm not gonna put that on paper just because I don't know. So I will keep Kisuke at 1 for now. And I probably will still keep Aizen at 2. Even though Mayuri had done a lot, I just don't think it's enough for me to push him past Aizen and Kisuke, especially with the things they've done, man. And Kisuke outplaying Aizen like that at the end of the Fate Karakura Town arc was just like, I honestly didn't see it coming. I thought it was just going to be a typical battle shonen. Ichigo was going to, Dangai Ichigo was just going to use his final, his Mugetsu, and it was just going to beat Aizen. I thought he was just going to win in a power contest. But if it wasn't for Kisuke, Aizen never would have got sealed in the first place. Kisuke set that up like from way, while ago in the fight, because he knew in his head Ichigo would weaken him enough, hopefully, that the seal would take effect. So the fact that he set that up, man, I just gotta keep Kisuke number 1, man.
And then also looking at like Kisuke's Bankai, the way it works with reconstruction, he has to understand exactly how the body works in every small detail. Otherwise, he could mess up his entire body. And then
by the way, that's a perfect Bankai for him, by the way.
100%. I mean, if this Bankai was in somebody like Ichigo's hands, it'd be practically useless.
Exactly.
But
since it's in the smartest person in the Soul Society's hands, it's destructive.
Yeah, one of the most powerful bankais in the right hands. And then also Kisuke came up with the ability to give the captains back their bankai. So
oh my god, I remember when he called Ichigo, they're talking. He tells him, and I was just like, man, this guy, like, what is up with this guy? He's a different monster, bro.
It took 2 days. And then one other reason why I would also agree with you is because Kisuke was given the war potential for his intellect. Aizen was not. I think that's another thing that gives Kisuke the heads up on Aizen. And then
what was Aizen given his for, by the way? I can't remember.
I'm trying to remember. I know Ichigo was potential. I think Ichibei was wisdom. I
think the other one, Kenpachi was the other one, right? Or no?
Yeah, Kenpachi was one of them. I can't remember what. Let me quickly look it up.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's so crazy that Yohabak was so confident that he would thwart Yamamoto that he didn't name him as one. That's crazy.
Aizen was given his for spiritual pressure, which makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say Ryatsu, but I was like, I don't want to say it. It sounds dumb.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Kenpachi's is just for combat strength.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Shout out to my captain for you guys that don't know. Check out the Bleach D&D, guys. I'm telling you, man, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, it's peak fiction.
Facts.
So I know that you haven't read Can't Fear Your Own World or Spirits Are Forever With You or Bleach.
I have not, but I want to though. I think I will watch them. I'm thinking about reviewing them on my second channel, so I might actually peep them.
Yeah. So from where you're at in Thousand Year Blood War, what do you think happens after the war?
So after the war, are you from just the point after the war, or are we talking from the epilogue?
After the war. So exactly after.
Man, that's hard to say. I would think that they probably had to go back to work, like making sure the Soul Society was okay, because like from the invasion, I would assume that they probably went into like some sort of construction phase, making sure everything was all right with that. Other than that, man, I honestly don't know. I guess some stuff with Aizen, most likely, because it's like, what happened with him? Because like he was kind of, very pivotal in like this win.
Yeah.
So it's just like, did they still keep him like sealed up? I don't know. Did they give him amnesty or something because he helped? Like, I don't really know.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of what I was wondering about. I was really wondering about Aizen, what they did with him.
Yeah, I will say Can't Fear Your Own World definitely answers that in like the first chapter. But what do you think is going on politically in the Soul Society? Because I know
politically, I would imagine that there's probably some stuff going on with the new head captain, right? Because like, well, at least I think, because he kind of became like head captain, like not out of nowhere, but I think it was rightfully him. Like he was the right choice.
Yeah.
But maybe other captains might not feel that way. I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of like internal struggle with them. I don't know if I'm way off mark or not, but that's the first thing I thought about politically.
And he also made some unsupported decisions, such as allowing Kenpachi to gain his Bankai and giving soul tickets freely out to humans.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely tension there for sure. One of the coolest aspects I find in the Bleach novels that you'll definitely need to read is the royal families are almost at a critical point. It's getting to the point where it's like the downfall of royalty in the Soul Society.
Okay.
And it's almost
down with capitalism.
Yeah. But overall, they're very interesting, especially with how they play a role after the story. But what do you think is the writing-wise and thematic-wise the best fight?
Ooh, writing-wise, that's tough. Probably have to be Bambietta. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Bambietta versus Kamamura.
Dang. writing wise, that's tough. I really like the Yamamoto and Yobak fight. I think
Okay.
I would pick that one. I just because like I got emotional, man. I got really emotional, like especially after seeing like the flashback. You learn like about his right hand and like his feelings towards him, and then going into that fight, it just kind of like, man. And then just the downfall of Yamamoto in the end, it just was like really touching to me. I think it connected to me emotionally. So like, I think that's probably mine. What would yours be?
It's tough. I think the one where both of the characters are the best written and how they portray each other is between that one or Hugrim versus Basby.
Oh yeah, that fight was gas.
Yeah, especially because they both relate to each other. We got the flashback. Oh, speaking of flashbacks, do you think the anime will have the 1,000-year flashback?
I hope.
Same. I think it needs to be placed right at the Yamamoto versus Yobak fight while they're fighting. And the second that he's revealed, like, we get the flashback, or maybe right before the fight begins, we get like this 1 episode long flashback of just how their relationship's structured and why Yamamoto treats him as such a threat and goes straight into Banshee.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, we definitely need it. I think just for like context reasons, and plus there's gonna be like people that haven't read the manga that are probably still gonna be anime only, and I think that's like very important context for them.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree. So out of the 200 or so chapters a 1,000-Year Blood War is, what are your 3 biggest criticisms?
3 biggest criticisms: the Yamabox defeat, the Yamamoto fight, and Squad Zero not being fleshed out more.
Okay. Can you
especially the Squad Zero? Like,
yeah.
Like to me, that's my biggest criticism. Like, and we've talked about this before, like off like video, but I just feel like besides Ichibei and like maybe the guy that like made the Zanpakuto, like the rest of them were very lackluster in my opinion. Like,
yeah, I also think
it's kind of sad.
The Shinigami robe one was also really interesting with how she beat the wind one, but other than that, she didn't have much. She immediately got shot in the head. I think it was very it was just supposed to show how powerful
the
Box was in a sense. But I definitely
I think so too, especially when he beat Ichibei.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the biggest issue with it though is how hyped up they were. Like if they were not said to be, if the 6 of them were not said, or 5 of them were not said to be stronger than the entire Gotai 13, I would not have been as disappointed. But because they were stated for that, it was super upsetting.
And it was kind of disappointing too. Even though Ichibei did his dang thing against Yamabox, he did his thing. I'm not gonna lie and act like he didn't. It was just like, man, I really wish we got to see Ichibei like maybe fight somebody before him and just got to see him like body someone first before like fighting and losing.
No, because I definitely agree. It was set up to be something very interesting. Like it was almost going to be a 1v1 between each of the Stritzraffel, I did not say that right, and the Squad Zero members. Like there wasn't exactly enough to have a 1v1 in a different place in the Royal Palace, a 1v1 in another place, and another place, another place, and so on, to where they each could have been fleshed out in one fight. I think what happened was Kubo got sick, and he had to like push through that moment so he could get to the ending quicker, and show better relevance to the Gotai 13 members, rather than members that, to be honest, to the audience, they didn't really care about. Well, can you elaborate?
Yeah, I think it's.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna change the topic. What were you wanting to say about this?
No, I was just thinking about the whole like the Squad Zero and the Soul King, and I was just gonna say when we had a conversation the other day, it was interesting. I learned about that the Soul King is actually really strong. I thought that the Soul King wasn't strong, but you told me that he is. It's just that he just doesn't. He just was so worried about keeping balance that he wasn't he didn't care about what was going on to him. I honestly hadn't realized that. It makes much more sense because I'm like, yo, the Soul King can't be that weak. And it's not that he's weak, you said. It's just that he was just really basically wasn't paying attention to him, like.
Well,
which is
to a degree, yes. He knew what was going to happen, to happen, but Yhwach is technically the Soul King's son. And the Soul King can see the future, and the Soul King knew what was going to happen, but he knew eventually there was going to become balance inside the place. So he didn't care. He was weak because he was sealed away by the royal families. After he sat there and created the split, the 5 royal families were very corrupt, and they wanted power to themselves, so they sealed away the Soul King and stole parts of his limbs for power.
That's why it was only like his torso, basically.
Yeah, he was sealed away there.
See, I didn't know that, bro. The more you know, bro. It's crazy that they did that.
Yeah.
How did he, are the royal families that strong? Like, how did they do that to him?
They pretty much tricked him into creating the balance between the worlds, and then they took out his limbs, and after that, each limb has a power. His heart has the miracle power that formed the Miracle Stern Rider. The only Stern Rider that Yhwach cannot take the power of, by the way. And then his left and right arm each have their respective powers, and were each used in the story for their relevance. One fighting Mayuri, and the other one keeping Ukitake alive. How did you feel about Ukitake, speaking on that?
During the regular anime for Bleach, I really didn't care about his character too much. Not that his character's bad or anything. It's just he was sick a lot of the time, so he wasn't doing much. He had that really cool fight with him and Yamamoto and Kiraku. That fight was awesome. But like besides that, a lot of times when we seen Ukitake, he was just sick. He was kind of just sitting in his his little shack, and he was just kind of resting, and so it's like he wasn't really doing much. But it's him getting saved, though, I mean, it doesn't really bother me that much, I guess. I don't know. I didn't really get upset about it.
Oh, you see, I find Ukitake to be a solid character writing-wise, but to be a bigger disappointment than Squad Zero.
I can see that. So writing-wise, there's nothing wrong with him. Yeah. But I can see where your disappointment can come.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only member of the original Gotai 13 we never got a Bankai of. Well, him and Aizen, but if Aizen showed his Bankai, I think that would break the Bleach universe. Bleach is Aizen's Bankai. But yeah, I can definitely see that. Can you elaborate more on, because you said one of your biggest criticisms was the Yamamoto.
Oh, I just it was just sad to see, I guess. It was just disappointing. I don't think it was bad writing or anything. Especially we had a conversation about it. It made perfect sense how he lost. It was very consistent with his character, his pridefulness being his downfall. And we've seen him being prideful in other situations, like against Aizen. I talked about that in my video and stuff, and we discussed it. So like writing wise and narrative wise, like it made perfect sense. It wasn't like, oh, this doesn't make sense or nothing like that. It was just disappointing and from a fan perspective. Okay. Especially like how cool Yamamoto was, and like watching him growing up and being like, man, this guy, I know he's really strong, and I can't wait to see how strong he really is. And you finally see it, and he shows off, but then the way he loses, it was kind of sad, I guess.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I mean, we see him blow 3 Stern Riders with 1 slash of his sword. Yeah. And then here comes Yhwach, which beats him in 1 arrow.
So it was kind of sad. It was more sad than anything. Like, it was just like, man. Okay. Because he's like, to me, when I'm like, Yamamoto, to me, it's like the trump card in my mind. Like, he always was the ace up the sleeve in my mind. Like, if all else fails, like, I know that old Genryusai Yamamoto is going to come through and do what he has to do to save the day. And every time it's about to happen, he gets thwarted, man. Wonder Wise thwarted him the first time, and now this. I'm just like, man. And then he dies in this arc. I'm like, it was just sad. It was just a moment of sadness, I guess.
Yeah, you never actually get to see him be able to go all out on the main villain. Like with Aizen, like you said, he was stopped by Wonder Weiss. And then with Yhwach, his Bankai was stolen from him. and he pretty much lost hope as he stood there. One really cool aspect, I don't know if you noticed it, is when after Yamamoto's Bankai gets stolen, he no longer says anything. He just stands there as the rain comes down. And it's like almost like he realizes what's happened. And he realizes it's too late, that his pride got in the way. But then, when he does get struck, he refuses to give up, and he grabs Yuhabak, and he refuses to lay on the ground and die. But yeah.
That's something that I like in a lot of shonen. When legendary characters have moments where they're about to die, they always do that. They refuse to like fall on their back. That's like a sign of weakness to them. So like a lot of times in shonens we see characters die standing up, they die without falling down, and that's kind of like the mangaka representing this is a legendary character that even in the end would not let his opponent get the best of him.
Yeah, it's very reminding me of Zoro's moment when he wants to be cut.
Poxal?
Huh?
Oh, your mic cut out for a second.
Oh, okay. It reminds me a lot of Zoro's fight with Mihawk inside of the Barati arc, how he wants to be cut on the front and he refuses to turn his back and get cut as on the back.
Exactly.
One of my last few questions is character arcs. Characters grew a lot in Thousand Year Blood War. Now, we already spoke about how, in your opinion, Mayuri is the GOAT in terms of character and played the best role and did the most in Thousand Year Blood War.
Yeah.
But who do you think, writing-wise, between Kenpachi Zaraki, Shunsui, Kyokura, Shunsui, and Mayuri, who do you think had the best character arc, writing-wise, and favorite, your opinion-wise?
My opinion, Kenpachi, like, all for it.
Yeah.
But writing wise, it still might be Zaraki, because, and I'll say this on why I feel this way, because Zaraki went his pretty much the entire story of Bleach not really understanding himself in a way. Mm-hmm. Like he knew who he was, but it's like he never understood his power and like just really how powerful he truly was, because in a way he was kind of being held back. They would not allow him to, learn of his Shikai and his Bankai. And I feel like just through his Unohana fight and learning like that whole backstory and how he became the Kenpachi and stuff like that, I feel like he kind of found himself. I think a character finding themselves is just like very, very big development in my opinion. Like I feel like he's completed now. Like I feel like he had there's a piece of him missing, and now he found that piece of himself, and now he is the captain of Squad 11, Kenpachi Zaraki, for sure. Yeah, I definitely can see where you're coming from with Kenpachi. I love Kenpachi's character arc. I think probably my favorite, though, has to be Shunsui's and how he develops into becoming the next head captain, has to take that role. But I think the best one overall would probably have to be Mayuri's for me. Yeah, Mayuri's is crazy. I wasn't going to say Mayuri over Kenpachi, but I, as you know, I have a Kenpachi bias. I can't help it, No, yeah, I love Kenpachi. All those characters just love to fight for like a good reason, because they just have fun or are fun characters for sure. What do you think happened to Yachiro? Remind me who that is. Kenpachi's lieutenant. Oh, the lieutenant. I think what you were talking to me about the other nights, when you spoiled Treasy, Yachiru, her being his Shikai theory, that's kind of cool. I kind of am going with that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that theory came from Tekking, that was citing, but I'm not 100% positive on that. And then my final. Oh wait, sorry. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry. I was just saying that theory is really cool. I never heard about it until the other night. And then my final question is: do you think Shunsui had a little cheeky night with his Zanpakuto? I definitely do. They seem a little bit too close for comfort for me, man. Yeah. I think one night he got a little drunk. He Bankai, and They did their thing, and
and that's how Baby Zanpakuto was formed.
Yeah. That's how daggers are made.
Kubo teaching us the best way to make a dagger.
Who needs a blacksmith?
Anyway, guys, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys check out Sin. On his second channel, he posted his Bleach video, and in my opinion, it's not only his best video, it's also his best edited video. So check it out. Link in the description. But yeah, check him out. He makes One Piece, JJK, and a bunch of other content on pretty much any long-running shonen almost on his second channel, and mostly One Piece on his, exclusively One Piece on his main channel.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, thanks again for coming out, Sin. And
of course,
yeah, subscribe, like, comment, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.